Good evening and welcome to the June 18, 2024 Planning Public Meeting. Members of the public were provided with the following methods to watch and/or participate in this open meeting. Attend in person at the North Dumfries Community Complex. Attend electronically via Zoom to observe the meeting or to speak to an item on the agenda. You can also watch the live stream by accessing the meeting on the Township's YouTube page. And finally, submit written comments, which were given to the Clerk's Division, and they have been provided to council members and will form part of the public record. I'd now like to call the meeting to order, please, and can I have approval of the agenda? Councilor Williams.
Myself by Councilor Williams, that council adopt the June 18, 2024 council agenda, planning public meeting as presented.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. I'd now like to do the Indigenous acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather today is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and the Neutral people. We acknowledge the enduring presence of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today, their achievements and their contributions to our community. We offer this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples of Canada. But words are only words. They have to go into action. And what does reconciliation really mean? As I stated last night at our meeting, I had a chance to meet with Chief Ava Hill when we presented her with our Buddy Miracle jersey, and recognizing him as the first Indigenous NHL hockey player. And Chief Hill said, as she took the shirt, this is what reconciliation is. It's recognizing that we too have made accomplishments. It's respecting what we do and understanding and respecting our nature and our lifestyle. And that's exactly all they ask for, is respect, which I think every person deserves. So let's pause and reflect on that for a moment. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Seeing none, Committee of Adjustment, Councilor Osner, please, the motion to sit as Committee of Adjustment.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Tilley, that the council meeting adjourn at 6:02 p.m. to sit as Committee of Adjustment for the purposes of holding public meetings pursuant to the provisions of the Planning Act.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. I'd now like to call the meeting to order and can I have approval of the agenda? Councilor Williams, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Williman, that committee adopt the June 18, 2024 Committee of Adjustment agenda as presented.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature? Oh, seeing none. Thank you. Minutes of the previous meeting, please, Councilor Tilley.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Osner, that the Committee of Adjustment approve the meeting minutes dated May 28, 2024.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. So 6.5 is a minor variance and consent application for 6.5.1 PD-23-2024 1606 Braggs Road, file number A-04/24. Notice has been given in accordance with the Planning Act. The Deputy Secretary Treasurer will keep a record of all the persons who provide comments on this application and who have registered with the Clerk's Department to request a notice of decision. These individuals will be notified of the decision or convening of future meetings on this application. Christina Blazanovic, the planner IGIS technician, will present this application. Christina, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The following presentations for minor variance application A04/24 for the property located at 1606 Braggs Road. The purpose of this meeting is to provide an overview of the proposal, to solicit comments, and identify issues or matters to be assessed by staff. The property is bounded by Greenfield Road to the north, Shoulder Side Road to the west, and Spraggs Road to the south. The property consists of a two-story detached dwelling and two accessory buildings. The property has a frontage of 152 meters onto Spraggs Road and is 6.7 acres in size. Surrounding land uses are primarily agriculture and rural residential. This property is Zone 1 agriculture and designated prime agricultural and protected countryside in the township official plan. The dwelling is listed on the municipal heritage registry. The applicant has submitted a request to waive the tier requirement, and a report will be brought forward for a future council meeting. The owner proposes to convert a portion of the existing accessory building into a coach house. The proposed coach house, highlighted in purple, will be 8.5 meters by 9.1 meters for a total size of 78 square meters. The principal dwelling, highlighted in green, has a building footprint of approximately 130.3 meters squared. 40% of this principal dwelling footprint is equal to 52.1 meters squared. The proposed coach house will exceed the permitted maximum size of 40% of the footprint of the principal dwelling. The remaining portion of the accessory building, highlighted in orange, will be 8.5 meters by 12.2 meters for a total size of 103.7 meters squared. The owner is requesting the following minor variances. Section 6.4.1 of the general zoning bylaw establishes that no accessory building may be erected between any building lines established by this bylaw. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit the accessory building to be located in front of the principal dwelling within the established building line. Section 6.40.7 permits a maximum coach house size of 40% of the footprint of the principal dwelling unit. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit a maximum size of 60% of the footprint of the principal dwelling unit. Section 6.40.9 II of the general zoning bylaw establishes that the coach house must be located in the rear yard. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit the coach house to be located in the front yard. Section 6.40.12 of the general zoning bylaw establishes that a coach house may not be permitted within any building lines established by this bylaw. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit the coach house to be located in front of the principal dwelling within the established building line. This photo is a view from the driveway entrance off of Sprague's Road. The accessory building is located on the left side and the principal dwelling on the right. The left side of the existing accessory building is the proposed coach house, and the remaining portion on the right will remain as a storage and workshop area. One piece of correspondence has been received from the adjacent property owners who provided support for the proposed development. And there have been no objections from the Region of Waterloo Catholic District School Board, Region of Waterloo or Waterloo Catholic District School Board. Staff recommend that all comments and correspondence received from members of the public and government agencies through the consultation process be returned to staff for a future report to the committee on the disposition of this matter. Staff will be considering all matters, including all comments and correspondence received, and whether the development meets the criteria of the 4 tests of the minor variance. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. I believe the applicant, Brock Linklater, would like to speak and join ahead. Go ahead, Brock, please come up to the podium.
Good evening, Honorable Chair, members of the committee and staff. Good evening, Honorable Chair, members of the committee and staff. My name is Brock Linklater from Dryden Smith & Head Planning Consultants in Kitchener. I am here representing the owner of 1606 Sprague's Road today. Firstly, I wanted to thank Christina for the summary of the application. I'll briefly discuss our thoughts on the proposal as well. This application seeks to convert a portion of the existing accessory building on the property into a coach house dwelling unit. The new unit will contribute to a provision of much needed housing units while making efficient use of an existing structure currently located on the property. As Christina mentioned, we are requesting 4 minor variances with proposal, which are necessary due to the pre-existing nature and location of the accessory building on the property. As staff have detailed, the minor variances include relief to allow for the existing accessory building to remain in the front yard of the principal dwelling, relief to permit a enlarged size of 60% of the principal dwelling's total area, so 78 square meters total for the proposed coach house unit, and that's in order to accommodate a functional living space within the existing structure on site. Really, thirdly, relief to permit for the coach house unit to be located within the front yard area, and relief to permit the coach house unit to be located within the established building lines. We strongly believe that this proposal and the noted variances are minor in nature, as no new structures are being proposed for this development, with the property owner simply repurposing the existing dwelling or the existing space within the accessory building to create a new dwelling unit. As such, the impact of these variances on the surrounding neighborhood will be minimal. We also believe that the proposed coach house aligns with the township's official plan, which encourages the development of a diverse range of housing types, and I believe that this project is a step towards achieving that goal. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I'll answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Bob. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, councilors, any comments? Questions? Councilor Austin.
Just one quick question. Is it gonna stay one level or is it going to be height?
Through the chair, yes, it's just gonna remain, one floor.
Any other questions? Seeing none, can I have the motion, please, Councilor Rowland?
For myself, seconded by Leah Wilms, that report number 23-2024 be received, and all comments and correspondence received through the consultation process be returned to staff consideration and future reports to committee on this issue.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, we have 6.5.2 PD report 24-2024 2610 Dundas Street South, file number A-05/24. Notice has been given in accordance with the Planning Act. The Deputy Secretary Treasurer will keep a record of all persons who provide comments on this application and who register with the Clerk's Department to request notice of a decision. These individuals will be notified of the decision and are for the convening of future meetings on this application. Christina Blazanovic, Planner IGIS Technician, will present this application. Christina, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The following presentations for minor variance application A-05/24 for the property located at 2610 Dundas Street South. Purpose of this meeting is to provide an overview of the proposal, to solicit comments, and identify issues or matters to be assessed by staff. The property is located at the southwest corner of the intersection of Dundas Street South and McLean Road. The property consists of a one-story detached dwelling and a dog kennel known as Willow Acres Pet Boarding. This property is 15.4 acres in size with a lot frontage of 73.8 meters onto McLean Road and 255.3 meters onto Dundas Street South. Surrounding land uses are primarily agriculture and rural residential. This property is zoned Z1 agriculture and designated rural area and protected countryside in the official plan. The owner proposes to facilitate the construction of a two-story accessory building within the front yard of the subject property. An elevation of the proposed development is shown on the right side of the screen. The first story is proposed to be a garage with a size of 160 meters squared, and the second story is proposed to be a coach house with a size of 112 meters squared. The principal dwelling has a building footprint of 175.6 meters squared. 40% of this principal dwelling 40% of the principal dwelling unit footprint is equal to 70.2 meters squared. The proposed coach house will exceed the permitted maximum size of 40% of the footprint of the principal dwelling. As per section 2.126 of the general zoning bylaw, front lot line is defined as follows. In the case of a corner lot, the shorter line that abuts the street shall be deemed to be the front line, and the longer line that abuts the street shall be deemed to be the exterior side lot line. Based upon this definition, for the property located at 2610 Dundas Street South, the front lot line shall be McLean Road, and as this represents the shortest distance measured along the road. The existing kennel and proposed accessory garage/coach house will be situated within the established building line of the principal dwelling, necessitating some additional variances. The image on the left is the front elevation of the proposed accessory building. The area within the orange box is the proposed coach house, and the image on the right is the floor plan of the proposed coach house. The owner is requesting the following minor variances. Section 6.4.1 of the general zoning bylaw establishes that no accessory building may be erected between any building lines established by this bylaw. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit the existing kennel accessory building and the proposed garage accessory building to be located in front of the principal dwelling within the established building line. Section 6.40.7 of the zoning bylaw permits a maximum coach house size of 40% of the footprint of the principal dwelling unit. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit a maximum size of 64% of the footprint of the principal dwelling unit. Section 6.40.8I of the general zoning bylaw establishes that the building height of the coach house cannot exceed that of the principal dwelling and in no case shall be more than 6.1 meters. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit the coach house to exceed the height of the principal dwelling and to permit a height of 6.95 meters for the coach house. Section 6.40.8II of the zoning bylaw establishes that the coach house cannot be closer to the street line than the front wall of the principal dwelling. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit the coach house to be located closer to the street line. And lastly, Section 6.40.12 establishes that a coach house may not be permitted within any building lines established by this bylaw. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit the coach house to be located in front of the principal dwelling within the established building line. There has been no correspondence received from any members of the public. There are no objections from the Region of Waterloo, Waterloo Catholic District School Board, or Canada Post. Staff recommend that all comments and correspondence received from members of the public and government agencies through the consultation process be returned to staff for a future report to the committee on the disposition of this matter. Staff will be considering all matters, including comments and correspondence received and whether the development meets the criteria of the 4 tests. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Would the applicant like to make any statements?
Hello, I didn't really prepare a speech, I'm sorry.
No, you don't need a speech. If you have something to say.
Yes, we just proposed to build this coach house on our property. We thought the variances were minor in nature just because, you know, the size of the actual living space is a little bit bigger. I know 64% seems a little high. And then the other thing with it being technically in front of the house, at first I just knew that I couldn't do it in front of the original main dwelling, like in front of the main wall. So that's why we chose that certain location. So I know it changes a little bit now that we're using McLean Road as the front of the property. But if you guys do see the property, it'd still be pretty tucked away behind the kennel, or at least to the side of it. And at least we're not around any of our neighbors. The field behind us is pretty much just a field. Yeah. Any questions? I don't know what to say.
You did great. You did great. So now it's my job to ask the public. Anybody in the public wish to make any comments? Seeing none, councilors, any comments? Go ahead, Councilor Osman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm looking at figure 2 of the concept plan and reading section 6.40.8 and I don't see, according to the concept plan, I don't see how that accessory building is closer to the road than the house. So that's one of the provisions, one of the, for our bylaws, like.
Christina? I think it's probably just to do with certain angles that we're looking at.
That's because of the front. The front is McLean, not, right?
For you, Madam Mayor, I believe, just to answer this question, the front yard is considered, or the frontage is considered off of McLean and not off of Dundas Street South because of the reduced actual frontage onto McLean. The definition of our front yard is that the smallest frontage is considered the front yard. So that's why when you look at it, it appears that the dwelling is actually closest, but in this case with McLean being the frontage for the front yard, it actually is a bit ahead of the principal dwelling.
Right.
That's awesome.
Thank you. So looking at the angle of McLean Road, was a measurement done from the front wall of the existing residence to the proposed front wall of the accessory building. Because McLean Road goes at an angle like this. You've got the two buildings like this. So from the proposed accessory building to the road, is it shorter distance than from the existing to the road? Because the road cuts actually towards the house.
Through you,
Was there a
Madam Mayor.
measurement done? Sorry.
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor. I don't believe we completed that measurement, but what we can do is we can do that measurement and respond to that as part of a future recommendation report. And if that still requires a variance, we'll bring that forward. But if not, then we'll clarify that and we'll remove the variance.
Just might be one bullet point that one hurdle we don't need to jump.
Thank you, Michael and Christina. Any other members of the council have any comments? Seeing none, can I have the motion, please, Councillor Austin?
I'll move by myself, second by Councillor Chile. PD report number 24-2024 be received, and that all comments and correspondence received through the consultation process be returned to staff for consideration and a future report to the committee on the disposition of this matter.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next up is item 6.5.3, PD 25-2024, plot lots 18 and 19, concession 12, and part of the road allowance between lots 18 and 19, concession 12, closed by unregistered bylaw number 78, designated as .3 on 58R -71301, Township of North Dumfries, file number A-01/24. Now, all of you repeat that to me. No, here it is. Notice has been given in accordance with the Planning Act. The Deputy Secretary Treasurer will keep a record of all persons who provide comments on this application and those who register with the Clerk's Department to request a notice of decision. Those individuals will be notified of the decision or the convening of future meeting of this application. Christina Blazanovic, Planner RGIS Technician, will present this application. Christina, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The following presentations for minor variance application A01/24 for a vacant lot located on Roseville Road. The purpose of this meeting is to advance a recommendation for the committee's consideration on the merits of the application. The property is located east of the intersection of Whistlebear Road and Roseville Road. The vacant lot has a frontage of 243.8 meters onto Roseville Road and is 15.95 acres in size. Surrounding land uses are agricultural and residential. This property is zoned Z1 agriculture and designated rural area and protected countryside in the township official plan. The purpose of the proposed minor variance application is to seek relief from the general zoning bylaw to permit a reduced minimum distance separation to facilitate the construction of a single detached dwelling on the vacant lot. A poultry barn situated on the adjacent parcel municipally addressed as 1056 Whistlebear Road and highlighted in purple necessitates a minimum distance separation of 250 meters for the proposed dwelling. The subject property also contains a small wetland area along its road frontage, highlighted in green. Due to the existing wetland area and the setback requirements associated with it, the residential dwelling is proposed to be constructed further inland from the road frontage, placing it within the required minimum distance separation of 250 meters. Therefore, the owner seeking relief from section 6.29.1 of the general zoning bylaw, which establishes that no residential development located on a separate lot and permitted within a zone shall be erected or altered unless it complies with the minimum distance separation. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit a minimum distance separation of 198.92 meters, a reduction of 51.08 meters from the required 250 meter setback. This photo is a view of the vacant parcel from Roseville Road, and you're able to see the poultry barn to the rear of the property. There have been no comments or concerns from any members of the public. There are no objections from any external agencies or internal departments. The building department has recommended that a warning clause be registered on the title of the property, advising any future purchaser of the odor or sound that may be experienced as a result of the proximity to the neighboring barns. Planning staff is of the opinion that the requested variance meets the four tests of a minor variance as outlined below by the Planning Act. 1, that the variance is minor in nature. A reduction in the MDS setback is approximately 50 meters and generally minor and will still maintain a reasonable setback to the poultry barn. As mentioned, staff have recommended a condition for the proposed minor variance to include a clause that's registered on title of the subject property to inform any future purchaser of potential odors or sounds that may arise from their proximity to the barns. Secondly, that the variance is desirable. The construction of a single detached residence is considered an appropriate development of land and is a permitted use. Number 3, the variance meets the intent of the bylaw. This proposed development is a permitted use within the Z1 zone. The proposed new dwelling will meet the applicable provisions of the bylaw with regard to residential development in the Z1 zone, with the exception of the minimum distance setback. And lastly, that the variance meets the intent of the official plan. The official plan regulates its uses through the zoning bylaw, and the proposed development is in conformity with the intent of the zoning bylaw. Planning staff also note that the township is in receipt of a telecommunication tower application file TC02/23 for the adjacent parcel located at 1056 Whistlebear Road. A public meeting for the proposed telecommunication tower was held on March 26, 2024. The proposed tower will be situated adjacent to the poultry barn. As per the telecommunication tower protocol, the construction and development of a new communication tower in locations within 120 meters or less of sensitive land uses is generally discouraged. Staff have reviewed the proposed location of the single detached residence in relation to the location of this proposed telecommunication tower. And the proposed dwelling will be located approximately 200 meters from the telecommunication tower. Therefore, staff are satisfied that the proposed development of this single detached dwelling on the subject property conforms with the township's telecommunication tower protocol. Planning staff recommend that minor variance application A01/24 be approved, subject to the condition listed in the recommendation section of PD Report 25-2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. I believe Andrew Head is wished to make some comments. Yeah, please. Planning consultant.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the committee, staff. Christina, thank you for an excellent job, very detailed. I don't really have much to say. She does such a good job. What can I possibly say? We're in agreement with the staff report and the recommendation. We had no issues with registering title on that there was potential issues for the future. Just to kind of give you a quick little extra, the applicant is actually works for the farm and is the son of the farm that is in question. You know, seal the deal that he's a farmer who lives there. If there's any questions on that?
Thank you. Any questions from the public? Seeing none, council. Seeing none, can I have the motion, please, Council Williams?
Moved by myself, seconded by Rod Wellman, that PD report number 25-2024 be received, and that minor variance application A-01/24 to permit a reduced minimum distance separation setback of 198.92 meters be approved, subject to the following condition: that prior to the issuance of any building permits, a township approved wording clause be registered on title at the applicant's expense to inform any future purchaser of potential odors or sounds that may arise with proximity to neighboring animal husbandry facilities or farms.
All those in favor? Carrie, thank you. Next is 6.5.4 PD 26/2024 2 James Edgar Court, file number A-03/24. Notice has been given in accordance with the Planning Act. The Deputy Treasurer, Secretary Treasurer will keep a record of all persons who provide comments on this application and those who register with the Clerk's Department to request a notice of decision. These individuals will be notified of the decision or the convening of future meetings on the application. Michael Campos, Manager of Planning, will present the application. Michael, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council, senior staff, and members of the public. The following presentation has been prepared to share planning staff's recommendation on minor variance application number A03/24 relating to 2 James Edgar Court. Subject property is located in the southwestern corner of the intersection of Burnside Drive and James Edgar Court, as is shown on the image on your screen. The property is municipally addressed as 2 James Edgar Court and provides a total lot area of 700 square meters with a corresponding lot frontage of approximately 21.49 meters onto James Edgar Court. The subject property consists of a 2-story single detached residential dwelling. No other accessory structures are located on the subject property. Surrounding land uses consist of residential single detached dwellings that are connected to municipal services. Subject property is designated built-up area by map 2 and urban residential and ancillary by map 2.1 of the township official plan, and the property is zoned Z4 urban residential under zoning bylaw number 689/83. The applicant is proposing to construct a new deck within the southern side yard of the subject property, facing the interior shared lot line with 4 James Edgar Court. The deck is proposed to be affixed to the residential dwelling, which is 2 stories in height, thereby requiring that a minimum interior side yard setback of 2.4 meters to the property line be complied with. The purpose of the proposed minor variance application is to seek relief from the minimum side yard setback of general zoning bylaw number 689/83 for a total requested reduction of 0.4 meters. The applicant is therefore proposing a 2-meter interior side yard setback to the property line from the deck. As you can see on the image on the screen, the deck will be located within an existing cutout area of the dwelling that will provide access to an existing door located above grade. This area is intended to function as an amenity space for the resident of the dwelling. The following photo illustrates the deck as it exists today. Construction of the deck has been initiated, but has not been completed. This image provides a visualization of the space that continues to exist between the deck and the side yard property line. It also provides a visualization of the existing doorway on the dwelling that leads to the deck, showing that the intent of the space was to be used for an amenity space for the resident. So in order to facilitate the development of the deck, the applicant submitted a minor variance application, which seeks relief from the minimum side yard setback requirement of the bylaw. And the requested variance is as follows. Section 6.41I establishes that decks, when measured greater than 0.6 meters above the average grade, shall not encroach into a required side yard setback established for the principal dwelling within the applicable zone classification when affixed to the residential dwelling. The minimum side yard setback for the Z4 urban residential zone is 2.4 meters for a 2-story building as per section 8.3.3B of the zoning bylaw. And therefore, the applicant is seeking relief from this provision in order to permit a reduced side yard setback of 2 meters. Planning staff have received no correspondence from members of the community with respect to this application. Notice was circulated to property owners within 120 meters of the subject property, and notice signs were posted on the subject property facing both street frontages. With respect to agency comments received through the circulation of the application for review, no comments of concern were received and no comments were required to be addressed in order for this recommendation to proceed to a decision today. Planning staff completed a detailed review of the complete application that was submitted to the township in support of this application. It is the opinion of staff that the proposed variance meets the 4 tests for a minor variance, which includes whether it meets the general intent and purpose of the official plan, whether it meets the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, whether the variance is desirable for the appropriate development of the land, and whether the variance is minor in nature. It is staff's opinion that the proposed variance is minor in nature, as the applicant is seeking a small reduction of the setback of only 0.4 meters, which is already experienced on the property, as the existing dwelling is presently 2 meters from the side yard property line. It is the opinion of staff that the proposed reduction does not create adverse impacts on the subject property with regard to maintaining available access between the front and rear yard, nor does it create any adverse impact on the adjacent residential property. An appropriate screening is also provided between the adjacent residential property and the deck, which includes a board-on-board fence and landscaping. It is also the opinion of staff that the proposed variance is desirable for the appropriate development of the land, as the existing dwelling was designed with an exterior access on its southern facade, which leads to the open area in the side yard that is intended to act as a functional amenity space for the resident. The exterior access is also elevated above grade, therefore requiring an elevated structure to access the doorway. It is the opinion of staff that the location of the deck and the requested reduction of the side yard setback is an appropriate amenity space and is desirable for the appropriate development of the land. Planning staff are of the opinion that the proposed variance maintains the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, which is to ensure that a sufficient setback is maintained between any building and structure and a property line to ensure access remains available between the front and rear yards, and that appropriate space is provided between buildings and structures between adjacent properties. The location and the proposed setback of the deck continues to maintain sufficient separation between the property line and the existing structures, and planning staff are satisfied that the general intent and purpose of the bylaw continues to be maintained. And finally, planning staff are of the opinion that the proposed variance maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plan, as the official plan regulates uses through the township zoning bylaw. It's the opinion of staff that the proposed development maintains the intent and purpose of the bylaw, and therefore also maintains the intent and purpose of the official plan. So based on the review of the application submission materials provided, it is staff's recommendation that minor variance application A03/24 for 2 James Edgar Court be approved to permit a reduced minimum side yard setback of 2 meters from the deck, whereas the bylaw requires a minimum side yard setback of 2.4 meters. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. Is there any applicant wish to make any comments? Members of the public wish to make any comments? Councilors wish to make any comments? Can I have the motion, please, Councillor Tilly?
Moved by myself, seconded by Derek Osner, that the PD report number 26/2024 be received and that minor variance application A03/24 being a request to seek relief from general zoning bylaw number 689-83 to permit a side yard setback for 2 meters, whereas section 6.41I of general zoning bylaw number 689-83 requires a minimum side yard setback of 22.4 meters for a dwelling that is 2 stories in height be provided, be approved.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. We are on 6.5.5 PD 27/2024 1392 Wrigley Road, file number B-02/24, B-03/24, and B/0424. Notice has been given in accordance with the Planning Act. The Deputy Secretary Treasurer will keep a record of all persons who provide comments on this application and those who register with the Clerk's Department to request a notice of decision. Those individuals will be notified of the decision or the convening of future meetings on this application. Michael Campos, Manager of Planning, will present this application. Michael, please.
Thank you again. I am pleased to present to you a public information report relating to 3 consent applications to consider 3 separate lot additions received for 1392 Wrigley Road, files number B02/24, B03/24, and B04/24. And the purpose of this meeting is to provide an overview of the proposal received, to solicit comments, and to identify issues or matters to be assessed by staff as we move forward with the review of the applications. And for the purposes of this public meeting, all 3 applications have been consolidated into one report for efficiency as they are interrelated. The subject property is located on the north side of Wrigley Road between Reedsville Road and Dumfries Road. 1392 Wrigley Road provides a total lot frontage onto Wrigley Road of 42.7 meters, which is split between 2 sections that straddle the property municipally known as 1402 Wrigley Road. The longest stretch of frontage is 30 meters, while the shorter stretch is 12.6 meters. The subject property consists of 1 single detached residential dwelling and an accessory structure, as well as agricultural, forested, and wetland areas. The proposed receiving lots, 1402, 1412, and 1420 Wrigley Road, are all located within the Wrigley settlement area and have shared existing property lines with the subject property. Each of the receiving lots is presently developed with a single detached dwelling and associated accessory structures, with the exception of 1420 Wrigley Road, which does not have any accessory structure. Surrounding the subject property are primarily agricultural and rural residential lots, and the subject property is subject to multiple designations under the township official plan, including settlement, residential, and ancillary, rural area, and protected countryside. The property is split zone Z1 agriculture, which reflects the lands within the rural area and protected countryside designations, and Z3 rural residential, which reflects the lands within the settlement area. The purpose of the proposed consent applications is to convey portions of land from the subject property, 1392 Wrigley Road, as lot additions to 3 neighboring parcels of land municipally addressed as 1402, 1412, and 1420 Wrigley Road. No new lots are proposed to be created through these consent applications. So consent application file number B0224 proposes to convey 3,800 square meters or 0.38 hectares of land from 1392 Wrigley Road as shown on the concept sketch as a lot addition to the property at 1402 Wrigley Road. And the 1402 Wrigley Road property is the receiving lot furthest east on the concept plan. Consent application B0324 proposes to convey 1,900 square meters or 0.19 hectares of land from 1392 Wrigley Road as a lot addition to the property at 1412 Wrigley Road. The 1412 Wrigley Road property is the middle property of the 3 receiving lots. And then consent application B0424 proposes to convey 1,900 square meters, 0.19 hectares of land from 1392 Wrigley Road as a lot addition to the property at 1420 Wrigley Road. And 1420 Wrigley Road is the property furthest west. Should the proposed consent applications be approved, the retained lot would have a remaining lot area of 13.44 hectares. And should the ongoing consent application, file number B07/21, be approved to create an additional lot, the final lot area of the retained lot would equate to 13.04 hectares. And consent application B07/21 is being processed simultaneously with these lot addition applications. The receiving lots are all zoned Z3, rural residential in their entirety. And should the proposed consent applications be approved, the lands to be conveyed and added to the receiving lots would continue to be zoned Z1 agriculture. Further discussions regarding potential zoning restrictions are being assessed by planning staff and will be discussed further in a future recommendation report to the committee. The following image was taken from the rear yard of the property at 1412 Wrigley Road, looking northward towards the subject property. The proposed land to be conveyed includes the land generally shown in blue. Lands proposed to be conveyed to 1402 and 1420 Wrigley Road are similar to the land shown in this photo, being comprised of existing vacant agricultural land. At this time, planning staff have received one piece of correspondence from a local resident on June 10th, 2024. The resident shared concerns regarding the traveled speed along Wrigley Road and the safety of residents within the settlement area. And according to the comments received from the resident, they are supportive of the application should appropriate changes be made on the regional road to reduce speed. Township staff have communicated the concerns from the resident to the appropriate regional staff and will continue to push this item. Any additional submitted correspondence received this evening or prior to a recommendation report being brought forward will be included with the final recommendation report for consideration. Regarding agency correspondence received through the circulation review period, planning staff continue to wait on various departments and agencies to provide their comments. However, comments have been received objections to the proposed applications. Any additional comments received through staff and agency review will be included as part of a future recommendation report to council. And at this time, staff is recommending that no decision on the merits of the planning applications be made and that all comments and correspondence received through the consultation process be returned to staff for further consideration as part of a future report to council. And a future staff report will consider matters, including but not limited to the following: all comments and correspondence received during the consultation process, if the subject proposal in the opinion of staff is desirable for the property and the received parcels of land, the suitability of the proposed lots to be developed on the basis of private well and septic systems, the impact of the proposed conveyances on surrounding properties, the suitability of the land for the purposes for which the lands are to be severed, including the dimension and shape of the proposed lot configurations, whether the proposed consents conform to the intent of the official plan, and whether the general intent of the zoning bylaw is maintained. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Anyone wish to speak on the application? Applicant, go ahead.
Committee, my name is Andy McDonald. My wife sits behind me here at our second council meeting in less than a month. I'm here today to express my gratitude and thankfulness to you, staff, and my neighbors as we present what I believe is a mindful approach to creating a building lot in the settlement of Wrigley. Last committee meeting on May 28th, I presented a lot severance application where I proposed a collaborative concept in the form of conveying land to 3 abutting properties. Tonight, we present to you the next step. The approach of adding 3 abutting properties, this land, is to support the preservation of our groundwater resources and to provide a consistent configuration of lot sizes for everyone that abuts. Our severance proposal, along with these 3 proposals, all have the same lot depth as the 1382 road, which is our benchmark of 440 feet or 139 meters. As we proceed in this process, there are other components to complete as that exist outside the township's authority. Primarily, a purchase and sale agreement between us and each of the neighbors receiving the land. I can tell you and our neighbors, we have been diligently working towards a document we hope satisfies everyone, including our bank. That's our biggest hurdle. I believe these factors are important for you to know as we are transparent in this process and we identify where the process may take a bit longer. In summary, we believe these are the right steps to take to keep our community safe, healthy, and while supporting growth. Thanks for your time. I hope you have questions.
Thank you. Any members of the public wish to make any comments? Councilors, any comments? Councilor Austin.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can you put up, Michael, can you put up the, map again, sorry, of the property is, figure 2 concept plan? On the screen, please. Yep. Okay, so looking at the 2 properties on the left, there's that strip in the middle, and then there's a property on the right. So 14, is it 14? Sorry, it's not very clear on the screen. Is that 1402, that big, is that 1402? Is it? Okay, is there a house there? There's a house there. Okay, so you're creating that lot in the, they call it red, but it's not red. That's one lot. Then that strip in the middle, is that access?
The consent application that's was presented last month.
What's that gonna be? Is that gonna be access to the property?
No, that'll be another building lot.
Another building lot. So how are you gonna get to the 2 building lots on the left? Is that all gonna be one?
So the 2 building lots on the left are existing properties ready with houses on them. All we're doing is adding to the rear property.
Oh, so you're just adding on to
That's
property?
correct, sir.
You're not actually physically building it?
No.
Okay, and the same with the other?
That's correct. So they're all the same as the lot on the far
Okay.
right.
So really the only one you're gonna build on is the strip in the middle?
That's correct.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions, councillors? Can I have the motion, please, councillor Rowland?
Moved by myself, by Councilor Wilms, that committee report number 27-2024 be received, and that all comments and correspondence received through the consultation process be returned to staff for consideration and report to the committee on this issue of this matter.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. No correspondence. Can I have the motion to adjourn committee of adjustment? Councillor Rossiter.
Moved by myself, second by Scott Chili, that pursuant to the Planning Act, the public meeting of the Committee of Adjustment be adjourned at 6:47 PM.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And I need to confirmatory bylaw, please, Councillor Wilms.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Rowland, that the following bylaws be read first and second time. Bylaw number 3495-24, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council of the corporation of the township of North Dumfries at this meeting held June 18, 2024.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Councillor Chili, do third reading of the bylaws, please.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Osner, that bylaw number 3495-24 be read a third and final time, be signed and sealed by Mayor and Clerk.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, adjourn, Councillor Rowland, please.
Myself, by Councilor Wilms, that whereas business before this council planned public meeting has been concluded at 6:48 PM, and be resolved at this meeting.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you.